Ticklish business any way you look at it. Come on, we'll stick together.
Ticklish Business, the podcast all about honoring and celebrating old Hollywood. As always, I'm Kristen Lopez, and it is our old standard, one of our favorite episodes of the year to record, our TCM Classic Film Festival schedule breakdown. And I'm bringing the same crew as I've brought, I think, for the last 2 years now. As I call them, the Loras. I know there's different pronunciations, which I will emphasize in a second. The great Lora Stocker. Laura, how are you?
Doing well. I'm excited to chat today.
And the equally wonderful Lara Gabrielle. Laura, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having us on. This is always so fun.
I love it because I think we have a nice mix. Like, Laura's going to introduce. She's going to be introducing the Patsy. I'm going to be there just as a fun attendee. And Laura is there in spirit.
No, this year I'm there in reality.
Oh my God. Really?
So those who don't know, last year I couldn't make it because I had a child. Like the week of the fest.
Just a child.
And so this year I'm making it back. And I was actually planning on bringing my daughter, but then I had to make some changes because the person that was going to go with me and help, it just didn't quite work out. But she's going to come next year. And she's going on the cruise in October.
Oh my gosh.
My California friends, we got to get together while I'm out there for cruise weekend so y'all can meet my little baby in person.
This baby's got the best life.
She's living the dream.
This is breaking news. So Lora Stocker gonna be in attendance at the TCM Classic Film Festival. Before we get into that, I'd like to remind everybody that our Patreon keeps lights on. Ticklish Biz HQ lets us do fun things like this episode, as well as all of the other things we've been doing. And if you've been noticing, I've been doing a lot of interviews and different things with the podcast. So your support definitely helps 100%. You can start at just $1 at patreon.com/ticklishbiz. Get access to special pins, events, my TCM Classic Film Festival walking tour that a couple of patrons are going on. Thank you to everybody that supports the podcast, including the likes of David Floyd, Colin Foster, Mick F. Gates. I'm just naming people off the top of my head. Linda Lindley. You guys are all awesome. Thank you for supporting the show as we enter into our 10th year. I have been doing this podcast for 10 freaking years, guys.
Has it been that long, Mike?
Exactly. It has been that long.
I feel old.
Different presidency. It's been a lot. But if you're watching this eventually, once it's ended up on YouTube, thank you. If you aren't listening to or watching our episodes on YouTube, head over to youtube.com/@ticklishbusiness and subscribe over there. If you are listening to our podcast via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are listening to shows, we also thank you. Consider leaving me a rating and a review because it gets more eyeballs on us. But enough housekeeping. So, TCM schedule. Fun fact, I actually kind of already knew about half of these movies about 3 weeks ago because I did a TCM thing for Rotten Tomatoes. So I had already kind of known what some of the movies were included, but I didn't know the schedule and I didn't know who was going to be there. But I did have an idea about some of the movies that were included. So that was a hard secret to keep for like the last couple of weeks. But I feel like I say this every year. I think I said this last year when we did this. But damn, I need this festival. Like after the last 3 months, 2 weeks, 24 hours, I feel like I need this more than ever right now.
Yeah, me too.
Exactly.
I totally agree. And after birthing a human life, I definitely need it. It's funny because I was thinking about it the other day and it's like, I'm going to get probably more sleep at the festival than I do at my house now with a teething baby.
Probably so yes.
So I'm looking forward to it for all kinds of additional reasons.
Yeah, it'll be not only the movie watching for you, but also the vacation.
Yes, very restorative in all the ways. And as we say every time, probably the best part of the festival is getting together with all the great people. and getting to see, it is this big family reunion. And that is just such a wonderful feeling of all these people from, me from the East Coast, people from, different countries, all of that coming all together.
And it's amazing. Celebrate. It's amazing how long we've all known each other now.
I know.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Laura, I think you and I met the first time we were like social producers, and that was maybe like 2016. And Kristen,
2016,
we were all social producers together.
So that was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was, oh my gosh. I can't even fathom. The world feels so different over it.
Doesn't it though?
I think
in so many ways.
That's the thing that I think has been interesting, because I know that last year at the festival, I felt, and I try not to get political on the podcast, but it's impossible, I think, today, in today's world, to not be political about things. But last year, I was very much like guarded with people about like, how are we going to talk about like the fact that some of y'all probably voted for what is happening here? And this year, I'm like, I feel like we're all in the same really like rickety boat that's also on fire right now. So I feel more like a collective, like, I wonder how that vibe is going to feel, because TCM is one of those where you really can take the temperature of the world based on like COVID. COVID was a great example. When we had the first festival post-COVID, it was really interesting kind of experiment to watch people who were very resistant to the changes that TCM made, people that embraced it. Like, you could kind of find your people based on, like, you could tell a lot about a person. And then as things
honestly, like, who's got a mask on and who doesn't.
Exactly. And then the year after that, as things started to, recede, I still very much am a pro-masker. I'm a no-vid, knock on wood. And I would definitely get people that would, kind of give me the side eye, like, what's going on there? So this year, I feel like it's going to be really intriguing to kind of be in the place that we're all in, especially over the last month. Like, I cannot stress, we have been down some roads. Like, we were on the eve of nuclear annihilation at one point, this month, like, to see where we are.
It could be at another point.
Could be again. Who the hell knows?
But yeah.
But you know what? One thing that I've noticed about the TCM crowd is it's kind of not what you would necessarily think. Like, I would say that the vast majority of TCM fans are liberal.
That's my experience as well.
There are the select few who like watch TCM for nostalgia and like the way things were and blah blah blah. But I feel like for whatever reason, it gets the fans who are smart about history.
Mm-hmm.
And about, watching the movies in their context. Yeah, I find that the vast majority of the people that I encounter at the TCM Fest share my political leanings.
Same here. And I think the big reason for that is that it takes effort to get to this festival. It takes, commitment. It's got to be something that you're passionate about. And the casual, let's say there is this sort of casual viewer that isn't as steeped in all of those things, film history, historical context, all of those things, that they don't care about that. So they're not necessarily going to go to this type of event.
Yeah.
But the rest of us that do, you're right. That's been my experience. And the kind of, the COVID issues that arose that we referenced earlier, they were few and far between. And some of those people that were, in a tizzy about it didn't attend. And it kind of weeded them out of the festival a little bit, I think.
Yeah. And I think this year it's also going to be a real interesting thing. I've had so many people, and Laura, I don't know if you've been in the same boat. I've had a lot of people that have emailed me specifically asking me to go to ask people what's going on with TCM in the wake of the possible merger that is supposed to happen by July of Paramount, Skydance, and Warner Brothers. I've had so many people be like, are you going to ask Ben and Eddie about, like, they don't, first off, I need to tell people this. The hosts don't have any insider information about what is going on.
They don't have any power, and they don't, they're as much in the dark as the rest of us.
And they're very much concerned about it, just like all of us. I mean, yes, they'll probably, TCM is really good at having a poker face, as I've discovered over the years, and I don't think there's going to be any discussion about what's going on right now. I don't think they know, and I also don't think they want to poke the bear. I think that the whole thing is like, well, if we just kind of skate by, then maybe we'll get some goodwill. I don't have any insider information as well about what the future looks like. I'm very much concerned. I've told people before, could this be the last festival? Yeah, it very well could be.
But we were saying that 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. So
and before that,
yeah. So I mean,
and
I
the same with
I
the
don't
cruise.
know.
You know,
think
it's yeah.
I keep saying consolidation is not good. I think that's bar none. There's nothing good about consolidation. I don't know. I've had people ask me like, is David Ellison going to show up like Zaslav did when I don't know. If he does, I would love to ask him some questions about like what the hell is going on. I don't think he would show his face. I don't think he cares, honestly, about a lot of things. And that's the thing I think people that are outside of the industry do not realize. I've talked to a lot of moguls. Okay, I've talked to Ted Sarandos. I've talked to people that work in these companies. Some of the biggest liars in the world are people that own these companies, and they will tell you whatever they want to tell you to make you feel good, to not affect the share price. So that I don't think we're going to get any insider info during the next several days about the merger.
No, I will say I will be surprised if if we all go to the Meet TCM event, if someone doesn't ask.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they open it up. And especially, again, kind of going back, just thinking about the host, Ben is in an interesting situation because he does have a relationship with CBS Sunday morning. So he is already having to do a little bit of navigation into that new, the new dynamic around CBS, the whole CBS News.
My thing,
and leadership
always
there,
is you don't see these guys like looking for extra work, So I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to talk about the schedule, and the schedule itself. How do you guys feel? Every year there are two camps: people that love the lineup of movies, and people that have something to inevitably bitch about with regards to movies.
It feels like they kind of went back a little bit to kind of what everyone, the true TCM dedicated fan kind of wants out of a festival lineup.
Yeah.
We want the hard decisions. We want Lara introducing a film with Ben Modal. That's what we want. We're getting it,
I also say I think that return to their roots. I noticed a lot more conversations this year than I did in years past. And that always has been my favorite thing. I love, that was the thing the first 3 or 4 years of festivals. I would find one big conversation at Club TCM. I would park myself in the front row and I would just watch everything else that, kind of led up to that. And I think last year, I think the year before, there weren't a lot of conversations. They also were starting to clear the ballroom in between events. So I don't think last year I did anything. And what's funny is I don't remember a whole lot of stuff from last year because I don't really think there was a lot that was really intriguing to me. But this year, I mean, we'll talk about it when we start breaking it down, but there are a couple things where I'm just kind of like, I'm going to have to park in the front row. Like, I'm going to have to do that again because there's a couple things that I need to make time for. So this year, before we start looking day by day, what is the big thing that something had to have to make your schedules?
So do you mean like,
are you prioritizing based on guest? Are you prioritizing based on rareness? Are you prioritizing based on format?
I think it depends on the time slot. I have to say that Letty Linton is a must
for everyone. That's
in that time slot. And
yes,
and so we're all going to be getting there like 4 hours early, right? So we can get in line for Letty Linton because we were talking about this on the TCM Facebook page that I'm not sure that we've ever had a TBA on Sunday be from the Egyptian. They're always from like Theater 4 or something like that.
We did last year, didn't we? I want to say that there was a TBA last year that was what was an Egyptian title.
Interesting. Yeah, but I think that Letty Linton already, the
No
fest
question.
hasn't even started yet. I think that Letty Linton can already probably be guaranteed as a TBA.
It's
'Cause I
definitely
think,
going to be.
and that may be people who want to see it a second time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just the one time viewing. I've not been to the Egyptian since the remodel. Did it increase capacity or
No, it
decrease capacity?
decreased.
Okay.
It decreased. Yeah, it's very very small. They took out the balcony and then they took out the back row.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
when you go in, if you go in, you'll notice that there's a ramp and a little snack bar, like a sunken area.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
where the back row used to be. Like they
Oh
used to,
wow. Okay.
and they've taken all of that out.
Mm-hmm.
So I forget the exact capacity, but I think it's maybe about like 800 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Let's start looking at starting at Thursday. I'll go first. So Thursday is up in the air as it always is. I didn't ask for red carpet credentials the last couple of years because I didn't really care about the movie, but this year I do because it's Barefoot in the Park. I am no longer cool enough to get invited to opening night. I used to when I worked at my former day job, and then the minute I quit, they took me off the list. I guess I'm not feeling a way about it at all. So I'm a little bummed that I won't get to hear Jane Fonda talk about Robert Redford and watch Barefoot in the Park in the TCL. But I have it on DVD. I can just enjoy it at home. But I don't know how that's going to affect my screening schedule for that day if I'm going to be on the red carpet or not. So I would like to see the Meet TCM just because, like Laura was saying, I want to know if they're going to acknowledge the
The
Paramount
elephants.
in the room.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, I was looking at everything for later in the day. I'm not staying at the Roosevelt. I couldn't afford to stay Thursday through Monday, so I usually do Friday through Monday. So my mom and I'm kind of at the mercy of like what time she wants to go home at a certain point. So we both agreed. She was not pleased with it, but I was like, well, there's not a whole lot. We're going to be over by the hotel anyway. I let's just go see Grease 2. I'm like,
Nice.
one of the other poolside screenings are really grabbing me as much. I'm like, and we can go right home from the Roosevelt. It'll be fine. So I'm very excited though to see Grease 2 poolside, aside from the fact that it's poolside, but because I would really like to see it with an audience to see if I get it. Again, I've seen it once. I saw it once. I think when they did it during the 2020 the pandemic festival. I think they
Mm-hmm.
had it on there, and I watched it, and I was just like, this is the movie that everybody's saying is hilarious, and
So Kristen, I think that I was trying to decide whether I was going to see Auntie Mame or, and leave the opening night party early or what I was going to do in that time slot. If you're going to Greece too, I think we
please
maybe
come.
watch it
Yes,
together. That's definitely an us movie to watch together.
I have so many questions. Lorna Luff's gonna be there, and I would love to see Lorna Luff. My mom, weirdly enough, was like, "Adrian Zemed's coming." I haven't thought of that guy in like years. I need to go. And then I would love to see Maxwell Caulfield, if only because the one time I met him on the red carpet at TCM, he was kind of a dick to me. So I would love to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch the clip on our YouTube channel. Weirdly enough, it's up there. I was interviewing Juliet Mills. I was not talking to him, and I asked a question, and he clearly only half heard it. And I think he assumed I didn't know who she was. And then he starts like giving me this dressing down. I was like, no, I know. I'm asking about like fame in general, sir. But yeah, he
Yeah.
kind of got kind of prickly with me, and I was like, you're not paying attention, so go back over
Go
there.
away. Go away,
Yeah,
man.
so I would love to see. I would maybe love a better interaction. So yeah, no, Laura, we need to make this happen because we have some of our best TCM experiences
Yes.
watching movies together.
Yes.
And that's going to be the note I'm going out on Thursday.
Between
And Laura,
Kiss Me
you have
Kate-
seen it. You've seen
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Between Kiss Me Kate and Xanadu and
And
yeah,
The Way
I
We
think
Were,
Kristen needs to be
yes.
added to the list.
Yes. Laura, what is your Thursday?
Well, I've got the top tier pass, so I'm fortunate and will be able to go to see Barefoot in the Park. And I've said this many years, I know we all kind of fest in our own ways. For me, obviously there are certain films I want to see. that are non-negotiable generally every time I'm looking through the schedule. But I do try to prioritize the special guests because, you just don't know when if you're ever going to get a chance. And I don't live in LA, so I don't get on the West Coast. So I don't get nearly the opportunities that folks in New York or in, in LA area get. So when I get a chance to see someone at an event like this, I take advantage of it. So I'm really thrilled to see Jane Fonda, who I adore. I will say that I saw Grease 2 on the cruise, not last cruise, but the cruise before. Lorna Luft was on there, and Maxwell was on there too because the Mills sisters were on there. And when one day I was leaving to go into port. We were getting off the ship, and the Mills sisters were struggling with their cell phone to take a selfie. And they asked if I would take it. And Maxwell was very nice. And Haley's partner, husband, I don't know if they're married. But anyway, he was there too. And Maxwell made sure all of their dresses looked right and their collars for the picture. And I got to hold Haley Mills' phone. And it was a very old iPhone, and it was adorable. And
celebrity tech support.
So yeah, not quite a jitterbug, but it's a very old, little tiny iPhone, like, but it was really sweet. So that was a fun event. And Lorna, it was really interesting. I'll just sidebar real quick. She was on the cruise and was on there, for multiple screenings and events. As the cruise guests are, they typically do multiple screenings and conversations. Not once. If in all the times I saw her, and I saw her like 3 times, introduce 2 films and do 1 conversation, did she mention her mother?
Really?
So if y'all go and she mentions her mom, I would love to know that, because she didn't say a word about her mom, and I thought that was really interesting.
Interesting.
That's good.
She liked to focus on her own career, and I understand that.
As she should. Kind of interesting. As she should. I feel like Lorna sometimes, in her concert life, really leans into the mom connection.
Oh, does she? Okay.
But I feel like she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to. She's had her own career. She's had her own interesting career in life. So I'm glad that she's doing that.
Yeah.
Because she's a very interesting person in her own right.
She absolutely is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was interesting, because I think everybody was kind of expecting on the long format conversations for her to do like a little bit about her mom and her dad and kind of tell a little bit about their story. But she didn't. She focused on her career. And like you said, she has a very illustrious career in her own right. Very interesting career. And what was really cool, one more sidebar, on that cruise, TCM got her original Pink Lady jacket back from wherever collector had it or whatever, and they gave it to her on that cruise. So she might be wearing her original Pink Lady jacket, because I
love that.
So that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Lara, what about you? What's your Thursday schedule?
Well, my Thursday schedule, like I said, I'm so excited that the schedule is more to my liking this year than it was last year. I probably on Thursday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the trivia. The trivia. So Bruce is not doing the trivia this year because he's getting the Robert Osborne Award, but Ken Jennings is doing it. Ken Jennings is doing the trivia this year, so that'll be fun. I think I'll do that. And then I'm going to probably go to the opening night party for a little bit. I may just, have a minute or two at the opening night party before I get in line for Modern Times, which I absolutely adore. So I may do that. And then I'll go to Grease 2 at poolside with Kristen. So I was sort of on the fence whether I was going to do Auntie Mame, Modern Times, Grease 2, what I was going to do, and that altered the time that I would spend at the opening night party. Clearly, if I'm doing Modern Times, I'm not going to spend a lot of time at the opening night party because I've got to get in line for that. But yeah, I'll do that, and then it'll give me plenty of time to go to the poolside and do Grease 2.
I'm going to try to go to trivia as well. I'm going to try to do the first 3 things. I'm always interested with the Meet TCM, as Kristen said. And then I would love to check out at least a bit of seeing Ken Jennings. I've never seen him in person, and I think he will do a great job at that, because he's got a good sense of film and seems to be somebody who really loves movies. And then the opening night reception. But if I wasn't doing Barefoot in the Park, I would be at Modern Times, because I love Modern Times, but I also would be very curious to hear Tony Shalhoub. I love Tony Shalhoub. Adore Tony Shalhoub. So I'm kind of bummed that he's only doing that one event. I wish he was doing more intros, but I would love to know. I will have to connect afterwards, Laura, to tell me how his intro is, because I bet it's going to be great.
I will let you know. Yes. I love him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize to anybody at the poolside screening of Grease 2, because you will
we're probably going to get kicked out.
you will hear Laura and I cackling the entire
Just
time.
blame it on, just have a cup in your hand and say, blame it on the cocktail.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Friday is, of course, when everything really starts. My mom and I, she's going to be my perpetual plus one, and we've kind of loosely gone over some things. She's like, how early am I going to have to get up? I'm like, this is the one time a year I ask you, like, we're going to be on the ground at like 8 o'clock in the morning in Hollywood, deal. So we're kind of torn right now. I don't think I usually what they do with the press people is they give you a choice. You can either do red carpet or handprints. Last year I did handprints. I don't know if they're going to give me red carpet or kind of give me handprints as consolation. If they give me handprints as consolation, I probably am still not going to go, because I love Glenn Close, but I also have the option to go see one of two things with Mario Cantone, and that's what my mom and I are currently going back and forth on. I would love to do Autumn Leaves, because that movie is bananas as hell. If you've never seen Autumn Leaves and you've ever wanted to watch a movie about what if an older Joan Crawford was dating a younger Cliff Robertson who might also be psychotic, that's the movie for you. It's all sorts of bug nuts, and it's great.
You sold me on it, I tell you.
It's great. But then Alice in Wonderland, it's a 4K restoration. My mom and I love the El Cap, so we're still going back and forth on what we're going to end up at. And then as the day goes on, it only gets worse. I probably will be one of the few people not trying to get into Letty Linton. My mom and I have kind of had this discussion. She doesn't really want to walk to the Egyptian because it's a long walk. She's got a bad back, and I can't do the walk on my own. So we are kind of hoping it'll be a Sunday TBA so that we can drive. So with that, I think I'm probably going to park out at the Roosevelt and wait for Carol Burnett. My mom's a huge Carol Burnett fan. That's been her favorite person since she was like 8 years old. So I would really like to have that opportunity to like sit and see Carol Burnett with my mom. So unfortunately, Laura, I probably won't make the Patsy. I'm very sad.
Okay.
I know, I'm very bummed. But I think after Carol Burnett, depending on what's going on, I'm gonna try to do Dangerous Liaisons because it's in my book.
Okay.
So and I love the movie. It's great. I've never seen it on a big screen, so that's a cool. I was thinking about doing Father of the Bride because I've never seen Father of the Bride on a big screen either. But that's on like every weekend, and
yeah,
Kimberly
it was just on the other day.
Yeah, Kimberly Williams Paisley isn't a huge draw for me. If you had Steve Martin, like maybe I might have been there. And then after that, I'm kind of wanting to make sure that I get into That Thing You Do. That Thing You Do is one of my favorite movies. It's a fave. I'm a little bummed they couldn't get more of the band. Like, what's the rest of that band doing? Like, they only got one wonder. I'm a little shocked they couldn't get maybe two or three, but I still need to
one Oneater.
Yeah, come on. What are the rest of those guys doing? I think at that point, my mom and I, we're going to do Thing from Another World, maybe Poolside. My mom's a big fan of that movie. And then I'm tempted to see if I could maybe get away with doing something else in the evening, but I don't think that's going to happen. So as much as I'd love to see like Gaslight, I don't think I'm going to make it that far. So those are my musts. But all of that is scheduled, possible to change. Laura, what about you? I know the Patsy is kind of what you're planning around.
Yeah, so my schedule on Friday is centered around when I have to be at Theater 4 to get ready for the Patsy. But probably in the morning, I'm going to do Alice in Wonderland at the El Capitan. I love Alice in Wonderland. It's one of my sort of, it's not guilty pleasure because it's an excellent movie, but it's one of those movies that I've loved since childhood. One of my favorite Disneys. So I'll probably do that. My calculations tell me that I can do Letty Linton before I have to hightail it over to Theater 4 to get ready for the Patsy. So
how early do you have to arrive? Do they want you there?
Well, probably I'm going to get there about an hour early.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So, it'll be half an hour. It looks like Letty Linton ends at 1:15. So I'll just go straight from the Egyptian over to Theater 4. I'll be all dressed and that kind of thing. So then I do the Patsy. I'll stay for the movie because I just absolutely adore the Patsy. It's, for the people who don't know Marion Davies, I always say that it's the greatest showcase of Marion Davies' talents that you will ever see on film. She just really jived with the director. She was able to let loose and do all the things she was good at for really the first time. And I just love watching her in action in that movie. So we'll do that. Then after that, we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to stay at Theater 4 probably and do Next Time We Love. Marsha Gordon is going to be introducing that one, and I love Marsha. And it's an interesting movie. So I'll do that one. And then in the evening, this is one of those great TCM conundrums. Do I do The Princess Comes Across or do I do Gaslight? I'm probably going to do The Princess Comes Across just because of timing and because of Carol Lombard. So
I would really love to get into that one. If I can make it work, I might.
Yeah. The Princess Comes Across is so much fun.
I don't think I've seen that one. So
yeah, she does. She imitates Greta Garbo.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one. So yeah, I'm always down for new Carol Lombard movies. Laura, what about you? What about Friday?
Yeah, I sort of have like in my head like an A list and a B list. It kind of depends on a few factors. I love to go to the El Capitan whenever I get a chance, because if you've never been, it's quite an experience. It's just a wonderful place to go. And I'd love to see Alice in Wonderland on the big screen. I've never seen it on the big screen, so that's really high on my list for in the morning. But it depends on whether or not I decide to go to the hand and footprint ceremony. Even with like my ticket, it can be a big chore to get into that. And I would love to see Glenn Close at least once while I'm at the festival. I'm not sure how many other, I know she's doing Dangerous Liaisons. I was going to see what other events she's doing. If it's just those two. And I don't want to miss Laura on her convo with the Patsy. So
thank you.
So that's my goal, is try and get to the Patsy. So it's a toss up right now between Alice in Wonderland and the hand and footprint ceremony. Those are, if you've never done one, they're really neat. It's a very unique thing
fun.
to get into.
I would urge everybody though, if you do a hand and footprint, wear sunscreen, because
Yes,
the sun
or a
at
good
some
hat.
point will
Something
beat
yes.
on you. It's not shaded, and you don't want to be like me and have a perfect outline of your lanyard across your chest. So learn from my mistakes.
Yes, absolutely. And I was trying to think. I've done it a few times. I went to the Carl and Rob Reiner one and the Cicely Tyson one. So I've done it at least twice, and that was really great. I couldn't get into Lily Tomlin. I was too late getting over there. So again, it's a big commitment. So you kind of got to, even with whatever the top tier ticket, you've got to plan for that. But after that, I do want to try to catch Letty Linton. And then I was fortunate. Carol Burnett did a tour right after Tim Conway passed away. In fact, he had just passed away while she was on tour. And I had a chance to see her at one of the performing arts centers in North Carolina. And it was wonderful. I imagine it's a very similar conversation. If I had not seen her, that would be very tough to decide between Letty and Carol. But yeah, my hope is to go to Letty and then the Patsy, of course.
Thank you.
And then the evening, there's some really good programming blocks. And I always do really love the events at Club TCM. I'm interested in the one that they're doing, Immigrants in Exile. That one looks kind of interesting. That's very different subject matter than I've seen. And it, talks about the specter of fascism in Europe. So that will be interesting. So that's a possibility, but it overlaps with the Patsy. So if for some reason I can't get in because everybody's going to want to see Laura talk and I'm not able to get in there, then that's my backup. But I have seen Dave Karger do a similar presentation, The Music and Musings, on the cruise, and it is wonderful. So for those, looking for a recommendation and something in that time block, the 5 to 6, that would be a really good program to do. But but I may try to catch Hannah and her sister so I can see Barbara Hershey. And then see that let's set at 8:15. I do want to try and see the Princess come across. So that was what I was going to try to end my day with. But yeah, I mean it's a really good lineup. There's some I mean it's I feel like if something doesn't work out and I have to go to a plan B or plan C, I'm not going to go wrong on Friday. There's just
Friday's a good day.
It's probably to me like the best day of what's listed. It's really in terms of the films at least. So
exactly.
So like I said, my plans A and B and sort of C.
I mean, that's why I think everybody has those, backup
That's
things,
right.
So Saturday is pretty cut and dry, in terms of the mornings. Fun fact, they are showing Camille, which is in my next TCM book. No, I'm not introducing it. Don't ask me why.
Have you introed before at the festival? What? Okay.
Yeah, please take that to TCM and ask them why, because I would love to know as well. So, my mom and I are going back and forth on The Day the Earth Stood Still with Joe Dante, or Phantom Lady with Christina Lane, both of which I've seen. I love both of those movies. So I don't know if we're going to go sci-fi or noir in the morning. I'm trying to get her to walk to the Egyptian to see Cobra Woman because it looks, again, I love me like a bug nuts movie that makes very little sense, and that movie looks banana sandwich, and I would really love to see that, although she wants to go see Captain Blood, which I can't really argue against because everybody that knows me knows I love me some Basil Rathbone, and I mean,
so here's my question. Here's my question about that block on Saturday. Somebody decided to put Swing Time, Astaire and Rogers up against Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland. Like, we have to pick our alliances here. We have to pick our loyalties.
Yes, exactly. Like Swing Time, that's also worth seeing. So, we're discussing. I might end up at Captain Blood though. The Bamboo Blonde is another one that I was kind of like, that also seems a lot of fun. And then afternoon, I'm gonna do the Muppet movie because who doesn't love? I've had great experiences seeing the Muppets before. One of my first TCM events, we saw the Muppets Take Manhattan, which apparently all the scenes that I thought were in the Muppet movie are actually in the Muppets Take Manhattan.
My favorite of the Muppet movies is Muppets Take Manhattan.
Exactly. So I'm like, but
it's the best.
I know I've seen the Muppet movie, but I can't remember any sequences that aren't from Muppets Take Manhattan. So I need to rectify this. So I'm gonna do that. That's gonna take me to 5:00. And then I'm not really clear on what I'm gonna do. I could, do I'd Rather Be Rich. I could just go see the intro Victor Victoria with Leslie Ann because I've seen the movie on a big screen. But I would love to hear Leslie Ann Warren talk about it. I might do Stranger on the Third Floor, which has Ernest Dickerson. I'm not really clear. And then after that, the rest of the evening is really up for grabs. I could do The Devil and Miss Jones, which is a great movie. I would have loved to have seen RoboCop, but it's at the Egyptian, and I'm not walking down there in the dark at that time. So I'm tempted to maybe try to stay up for Notorious or Who Killed Teddy Bear, but I'm not really sure. So it's really kind of, Saturday is one of those where I'm just going with the flow, and whatever I see, I'll probably be okay after in the evening hours. Laura, what about you? What's your Saturday look like?
Laura or Lara?
Which Laura? L-O.
Laura.
I'm trying to emphasize the vowels.
Yeah. Either that or go Stocker. What you doing, son?
Please, Stocker.
I love that we've recorded these episodes for the last 3 years, and you just, I'm just like, why am I not used to using last names? Like, yeah,
Laura, we need to find like a Lori to be in our friend group, so we can really confuse people.
Really mess it up. Yeah. So
Laura, yes, I'm just your recommendations is making me kind of rethink some of my thoughts. There's some really good stuff playing at the Egyptian, but you're right. It's a hall down there. I think I might try to do Phantom Lady, but I'm not sure if I can get anything in the morning before that. You know, I've never seen Camille on the big screen, and that would be awesome.
It's good. It's good.
I because they're both in the multiplex. The closest I've been to seeing it on the big screen is seeing Annie on the big screen.
Oh yeah,
which, you gotta love that. But and I always think of that whenever I see Camille. But I really actually would love to see a face in the crowd on the big screen because I'm from North Carolina and Andy Griffith is from North Carolina, and that was his debut film, and he is phenomenal in it. So I may see that because I've seen that movie a million times, but again, never on the big screen. And I would love to see that performance.
You know what blows my mind? It blows my mind that Andy Griffith has the exact same birthday, exact same year as Marilyn Monroe. June 1st, 1926.
Yeah. Isn't that so wild? And
it's wild. Yeah, it blows my mind.
I love some Andy Griffith. I mean, if you're from North Carolina, you have to be able to quote the Andy Griffith Show. You grow up watching it. It's like, it's like Clockwork Orange. They hold your eyes open and make you watch it. But it's also a really great show. So yeah, so I kind of want to see. So it's between Phantom Lady and A Face in the Crowd, but it'll probably end up being A Face in the Crowd. But you had me second guessing that after your Phantom Lady wreck. Later in the day, The Major and the Minor Wilder sounds interesting. That's at Club TCM. So that's kind of a presentation I'm thinking about. And then I've got to get to the Muppet movie because I'm a Muppet. I mean, I'm a devotee of the Muppets. I'm trying to see. I've got a million books down here on my shelf about the Muppets. And I really want to see Paul Williams. In fact, not to skip ahead, but I'm looking forward to his conversation too, which I think is the last day of the fest. But that's high priority for me. I have seen Alicia do a conversation about TCM intros before, and that's a really good conversation. And normally Hannah Jack, I don't know if you guys know her, she writes a lot of the intros. She's really sweet, and she's going to be a part of that presentation. But anyway, Muppet movie. And then I don't think I'll have time to get to, well, I'd like to see Barbara Hershey. So if I don't go to her screening the day before, I may try to go to see at least some of her conversation if I can get into that. And then Victor Victoria, I've never seen on the big screen, but that's one of my favorite musicals. I absolutely love it.
Oh, great.
And Leslie Ann Warren was doing like another kind of like Carol Burnett. I love those like long format traveling conversation tours that some of the stars do. And I had a chance to see her last year before my daughter was born. One of my last events, very pregnant, and it was wonderful. And she had some great stories about Victor Victoria. So, even if you don't go see it, Kristen, her intro, I bet, will be really great.
And Victor Victoria is going to be so much fun to see.
Oh my gosh.
The young crowd.
Yeah.
Honestly, as much as I love all the different types of movies we get to see at the festival, the musicals are some of my favorite to see with the TCM Festival audience. Because people and they're not like obnoxious about singing along, but it's like they're so into it and so happy to see these movies on the big screen, almost to me more than they are any other type of movie. And it's just like I love to end my festival on a musical if I can, because you just feel so like uplifted, or something. But
yeah.
And then I may end my evening. Let's see, what time does it? 9. That may be my last one for the night, But I am going to, if I can stay up, I'm going to try to go to The Devil and Miss Jones and end my day with that. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Again, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with any of these options.
You can't. To go back to Victor Victoria really quickly. Mm-hmm. I've tried to get Leslie Ann Warren on the show. I should reach back out again. The first time I got a very polite no. But then she ended up doing somebody else's podcast, and I was just like, what what's going on there? So maybe I should try again. But I would just love to see a TCM crowd watch her performance sequence in the movie. Or watch the sequence where she's on the train and she flashes the crowd and the guy falls into the train tracks. These are moments where everybody, like, if they've never seen it, it's a perfect movie.
She eats up the screen in the best way. Like,
It's
I
a
don't mean
perfect
that at
movie.
all in a bad way. Like, she just devours that role.
Yeah.
Makes
And
so much of it.
it's just such a perfect TCM Fest movie. I could even see it being like a midnight
Oh,
screening.
totally.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I
like
would
they
love
did
to
with
see the cookies that people would make in honor of the Zardoz cookies. But like, what cookies would they make? They do like
they'd
one
have
of her costumes or something.
They'd have James Garner cookies with the big mustache.
Yes,
Clearly.
yes.
yeah.
Yes. Laura, what about you? What's your Saturday?
Well, let's see. So my Saturday, I'm sort of deciding between The Farmer's Daughter and Camille. I'm right now. I'm sort of leaning toward Camille just because it starts a little bit later. I'd get to just have 15 more minutes of getting ready.
Eat a nice breakfast or something.
Yeah, yeah. So between those two, we'll see. And then I've got to decide between my allegiance to Fred and Ginger and my allegiance to Olivia for that time slot. Swing Time or Captain
If only
Blood.
they had all done a movie together. If only they had done a movie together, all of them.
Wouldn't that have been fun? Although Olivia couldn't sing for the life of her. So, but I like Swing Time as a movie better than I like Captain Blood as a movie. But I just love Olivia. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens in that time slot. One of those two will find me in the theater. Then the next time slot, gosh, I have to decide between All the President's Men, The Misfits, and The Muppet Movie.
Phew.
I may end up just at All the President's Men just because I watch it every time it's on, and every time I can find an excuse to put on that movie. I do it.
Am I misremembering? Was that the opening night movie one time at the fest?
Yes.
Okay.
They have a couple of repeats this year. All the President's Men, and then also Network they've done.
I thought Victor Victoria they were going to do that at the 2020 Fest with Julie Andrews, but then I thought they brought it back after the pandemic.
Yeah. I can't remember.
But yeah, who knows? Who knows where I'll be?
I would say All the President's Men might be worth it because I think people started to realize that the guest is the real John Dean. Which, honestly, ask that guy the question about our current landscape. I would love to hear what he's got to say.
Uh-huh.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, right now, all signs are pointing to All the President's Men, but I have to, this is one of those time slots where I have to decide things. Victor Victoria, I adore. I also adore Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And Stranger on the Third Floor, I may end up going to just for the nerdy history of it, because everybody says that it's actually the first noir. But we'll see. We'll see about that. And I'm not sure that I'll be able to make it all the way through Notorious, so I may end up at The Devil and Miss Jones, which I think is a criminally underrated movie.
So good. So good.
And it's got a lot to say. It's got a lot to say politically. It's very, very forward thinking as a movie.
And you can't go wrong. It's Jean Arthur, right?
It's Jean Arthur and Charles Coburn.
You can't go wrong with Jean Arthur. So
or Charles Coburn.
Yeah. Or Charles Coburn, yeah.
Yeah. And it's about unionizing a workplace, and then the boss who ends up trying to quash the union and ends up being on their side. So it's just fascinating as a movie. But I also just love Notorious. It just ends so late.
Yeah, that's how you know you're older. I want to say my first film festival, my first TCM 2014, I'm still mad at myself that I didn't force myself to go to midnight because I have way more energy then than I think I do now. So that's fun. So
Yeah.
Sunday, I think we all agree Sunday is up in the air depending on what the TBAs end up being. But going off of the schedule that's already laid out, my morning's pretty easy for me. I'm probably going to go to Anastasia. I've never seen it. This is my festival tends to be me revisiting a lot of things I've already seen, and this is one I actually have not seen, but I've always wanted to because A,
It's
I
so
love Ingrid
good.
Bergman,
It's
and
great.
B, I was one of those weird Russian Revolution kids back in the day that watched
I was
Anastasia.
too.
Exactly, that
Yep.
was like Anastasia. That's great. So
I
I'd love
have
to
the doll. I have like the Barbie doll or whatever they put out of Anastasia. I loved it. Oh, so
so
good.
that's probably where I'll be. I'm very as much as I don't love it as much as Almost Famous, but I do feel contractually obligated most times to go see Cameron Crowe movies when they are showing. Jerry Maguire is not my favorite Cameron Crowe movie. It's probably my third, but Cameron Crowe's actually going to be there, which kind of irked me that he wasn't there when they did Almost Famous, and I had a shirt. I do not have a shirt this year, but Cameron Crowe is going to be there, and so I will probably go see that and relive 1996 all over again.
Mhm.
If for some reason I decide to just see the intro and then leave, I might go do Trouble in Paradise because I do love that movie. I'm going to try to get into Ishtar because we are doing Elaine in May on Ticklish Biz in May. And so we're doing a New Leaf and Ishtar, and I would love to see Ishtar on the big screen before I do that episode at the end of the month. So that might be my plan. My mom really wants to go see Towering Inferno. I don't think she realizes it's at the Egyptian, so I'm gonna have to tell her that and see if she wants to walk, and we split up or what. I don't know what she's planning to do. Is my thing. If anybody's interested in seeing a movie, Breakfast at Tiffany's is also in my book. It doesn't have anybody introing it. If only they had somebody that had included that book in their book, but whatever. And then I think I'm going to try to do Stand By Me, even though they don't have any of the kids, which is weird because they've been doing stuff together. But I need to go. I have a Rob Reiner shirt that I bought a couple months ago that I'm going to be wearing. I'm going to be out there to support. I'll probably be sobbing like a mess. And then I think at that point, I will probably be done and head up to closing night. So that's my last day. Laura, what's your Sunday look like?
My Sunday is caught between The Best Years of Our Lives and Anastasia. Yeah, I tend to base my choices off my old faves, and
Love
those are
it.
both my old faves. So
I should say we had Allison Maycourt just did an episode of Best Years. It's actually coming out festival week of the podcast. So
great.
I know
She's wonderful.
she's great. She gave us a little tease of what her speech is going to be. So yeah, she did agree. She was like, it's very long. It's a commitment movie.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I love Allison. So yeah, maybe I'll end up at Best Years so that I can see her. And then, of course, all of this depends on the TBAs. So I'm not sure. I don't know if the Patsy's going to be a TBA. So I can't. There are 2 TBA slots there. I don't know. I may just skip that slot. And then probably Cabin in the Sky, which I love. And then in the evening, have to decide between Network, which I have seen at the festival before, so that might influence my decision, and Lady Windermere's Fan. So I've seen that one too. I mean, not at the festival, obviously, but I saw it at the San Francisco Silence. So, yeah, one of those 2.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Laura, what about you? How are you closing it out?
Yeah, I'm torn. I mean, I really would love to see Anastasia, and that's probably what I'll go see. But I am a little curious about the Bad News Bears. I've never seen it on the big screen. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and it's its 50th anniversary, I think,
You
screening.
might see my mom there because
And
she's
there's
very
I mean,
interested
it's
in
got
that.
a packed guest list, so it will probably have a really interesting introduction, and kind of talking about the history and the making of the film. So that's a possibility. So I'm kind of up in the air about both of those, which one I'd start with. I really want to make it to the conversation with Paul Williams, that and Ishtar. I have not seen Ishtar since I was a kid, and I would love to see that again and see it on the big screen. So I'm going to try to commit to those 2. And then that would let out about 5 o'clock. So I think I'm going to either end on Stand By Me or Lady Windermere's Fan. I love any chance you get to see the orchestra play. So I may try to do that, and then the closing night party, and then it's all back. It's all over.
I know. It always feels like it's really long at the start, and then you get to like Saturday and you're like, wait, tomorrow's the last day?
Why don't we get to
it goes by way too fast.
Yeah.
It goes by exactly way too fast, and then we all have to go back to work, and we're just like, why? But of course, listeners, viewers on YouTube, please be sure to drop in the comments what your TCM schedule looks like, even if you're not going. We would love to know just what you might be interested in. We'd love to remind everybody that I will be doing as much content as I can from the festival. We have our TCM Classic Film Festival audio episodes that are going to be coming out, but I'm also going to try to do some video stuff with my great social media manager, Jenny Hawkins. So who knows what will happen on the streets of Hollywood at the end of the month at the TCM Classic Film Festival. I would love to thank Lora Stocker, Lara Gabrielle for joining me once again. Lara, let people know where you are online, anything you have upcoming that they should know about.
Yeah, I'm at backlotsfilm everywhere. I am mostly doing Instagram, Facebook, that kind of thing these days. But yes, that's my handle. I also have pages for my book, Captain of Her Soul, Life of Marion Davies. That's on Facebook. And yeah, I'm doing the Patsy at the Fest, so come see me and Ben Modell.
Yes, we love Ben
Modell's going to be accompanying it on the organ, so that's going to be really fun.
Amazing. He's so wonderful.
And wonderful. Lora Stocker, where are you online? Anything you have coming up that people should be aware of?
I'm easy to find. My web address and all my socials are my name, Lora, Lora Stocker. So certainly, find me. I don't have a lot going on right now because I'm still in full-time, mommy mode. So baby takes up lots of time, but I'm getting back into being a little more active on social media, and I've got some various podcast appearances coming up. For those who aren't familiar with me, I do a lot of outreach and things with the Ava Gardner Museum. So I have some things that I've recorded that are going to be airing soon. I'm an honorary board member. I took a little step back when, got busy with baby. But yeah, so I've got a few things percolating. So maybe when you have me back, 6 months from now or next year, we'll have something to share.
Yay! Exciting.
Teaser. We'll see.
Yes. And of course,
but I look forward, and I'm going to be at the festival this year.
Yay!
Get to get big hugs from my crew here and all my other friends who I get to reconnect with. So I'm so excited and can't wait to see everybody.
So excited to see you.
You too. Yay.
And of course, you can follow the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please consider leaving us a review. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/@ticklishbusiness. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on all social media at Kristen K. Lopez, unless it's Instagram, where I am still at Kristen Lopez 88. You can subscribe to my newsletter, The Film Maven, at thefilmmaven.com, where I talk all about entertainment. And then I also have my books. But have you read the book? Romance edition comes out on July 28th. It will not be available at the film festival, but I will have all sorts of fun little things to give away to help you pre-order that. If you haven't already, you can also buy the copies of But Have You Read the Book, the first edition. I'm sure that the TCM store will have that. That's also wherever you buy your books. My next book, my middle book right there is Popcorn Disabilities. That came out on Thanksgiving. You can buy that wherever you get books or request them from your local library, because free books are always great too. So consider doing that. If you really like the podcast and you want to support us financially, consider heading to patreon.com/ticklishbiz, where we have our Patreons at just $1. You get access to these episodes 48 hours early. You get all sorts of cool bonus stuff to help keep the lights on at Ticklish Biz HQ. We will have a new episode in 2 weeks. Till